Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Geek-Minded Fools. My name's Graham.
And I'm Scott.
We'll kick off, as usual, with another visit to the monkey farm.
Hey, partners, it's time to see what Scott's doing down on his monkey farm.
Hello, sir. Welcome to the monkey farm.
Love being here. Love it.
You are. Can you stay that side of the counter, please?
Always.
Thank you very much. This week, sir, I've got
How much are these?
Just look with your eyes, not with your hands, okay?
Sorry.
Put that back. Thank you. Oh, my God. You always throw me, because I'm really on edge now. I've got so many things in here that just stay where you are. All right? Hands by your sides. This week, sir, I've got some Suicide Squad news for you.
Oh.
I've got some Bill Murray news for you.
Ah.
And I've got some Borderlands news for you. You like Borderlands, don't you?
I does like Borderlands,
Borderlands. I like Borderlands. Right, Suicide Squad. It's wrapped. It's filmed.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap for the second time. They announced it was wrapped, and then they announced like a week later it's wrapped. I was so confused.
It was a rapper's delight.
It was a rapper's delight indeed. It's definitely wrapped because Jared Leto has released a couple of pics of his shorn green locks in his hand.
Sean Greenlocks. I went to school with him.
Did you? Nice guy.
Yeah, lovely bloke.
You going to keep trampling on this monkey farm? I will fuck you up. He released some pictures of his shorn green locks, and also as well there have been various other bits of footage that have come out onto the net of what quite frankly looks to be pretty astonishing scene with bats on the back of the purple Lamborghini, which I've had to now steer away from looking at any more footage of Suicide Squad.
Is there a scene from Suicide Squad that hasn't now been leaked onto the internet in one form or another?
There's a possibility, I think, if you went and meticulously went through all the leaked footage, you probably would have the whole film.
Yeah, that's right. You could edit together the whole film. Yeah.
So I mean, we're only really adding fuel to the fire here, aren't we, by keeping talking about it? If we just shut up about it,
shut up,
and
leave it.
We'll just leave it.
Stop. Move on.
All right. Bill Murray has come out.
Ooh.
And said that he is going to be in Paul Feig. I can never pronounce his name. Paul Feig's Feig Ghostbusters movie.
Next.
You don't want to know why he's going to be
in it?
Fuck
Ghostbusters remakes.
Well, he is.
Fuck them.
He is going to be in it.
Fuck them up their ghost-busting arses.
Hey, they ain't afraid of no ghosts, alright? So, rumours are suggesting that he's going to play a skeptic out to debunk our newly female-centric Ghostbusters. The reason he's actually said he is going to go in and do the cameo now is because he feels that the cast is very, very strong. He likes the idea of the story. He wants to be involved. I think maybe he might have even had a little look at himself after the death of Harold Ramis and thought, do you know what? I should probably try and celebrate the things that I did that were such huge successes and try and be involved in things going forward that are going to include them. I'm going to skip past the rest of this bit of news now because you, quite frankly, look a little bit like Norman Bates right now.
What is that spinning sound? What is that?
Harold Ramis in his grave?
Yes,
yeah.
That would be it.
You like Borderlands, don't you?
I love Borderlands, yes.
And you like films, don't you?
I love them.
What do you reckon about a film of Borderlands?
Didn't they just make that called Mad Max?
Yeah, they did. Should we skip past this?
Yeah.
Well, no, tough shit. It's getting made. Lionsgate, once again, strike with their great idea, another franchise, the Borderlands movies, which are obviously going to be absolutely chock full of CGI, given the kind of characters that we've come to meet throughout Borderlands. I would hope, that they do it some justice. I
hope so. I mean, it really depends how they choose to use the characters.
Yeah, whether or not they're going to go the Handsome Jack route or they're going to just go...
Yeah, I mean, because that would be great. Because bringing him into the second film, I thought was fantastic, and I thought, really, really gave it a lift.
Obviously, you've got Claptrap in there, haven't you?
Yeah,
he's got to make an appearance.
Good comedy value. I would go and see it.
What about if I told you that the two names who are on board to pretty much helm this piece are Avi and Ari Arad? Yeah. You know how much I love Avi Arad, don't you? He who always purports to be such the Spider-Man supporter, by just constantly wearing Spider-Man branded clothes and pretty much being a massive fuckstick. He's already fucked up 2 Spider-Man movies, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So suddenly Borderlands is not looking so glossy, is it? Should we close the monkey farm early today?
Never have I enjoyed being in the monkey farm less.
Listen, buddy, you wanted news? You got news. You wanted the hard stories, you got the hard stories.
You took your news and you punched me in the gob with it.
I did. I took my news fist and I rammed it down your listener mouth. Right, that's it. That's the Monkey Farm done. Out.
I'm gone.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
And now... And now we shall move on to this week's Quick Hits.
Quick Hits.
I think it's you to start this week, is it not?
It is me.
Yeah, see, I've been paying attention.
Beginning. Oh, well done. Well done, you. I wonder if the listeners have realised that we alternate order. Probably
what, in Quick Hits or in bed?
Probably don't give a...
Where are you going, top or tail tonight?
Oh, they probably don't give a monkeys.
No, probably not.
But for my Quick Hit this week, I have a comic book series that ran from 1993 to 2007. Now, I didn't buy it to begin with. I was first made aware of this when... Do you remember Wizard magazine?
Yes.
Wizard magazine brought out an independent special, because obviously they're always rah about the superheroes, Batman, Spider-Man, etc, etc. And they brought out an independent, an indie special. And part of that was 25 independent comics you should be reading. And number one was this one, which is written and drawn by Terry Moore. It's called Strangers in Paradise.
Okay, this rings a bell. I think you might have spoken to me about this before.
It is a wonderful, wonderful comic series. It was published over 3 volumes. Volume 1 was only 3 issues, published by Antarctic Press. Volume 2 was 13 issues, published by Abstract Studios. And Volume 3 was 90 issues, published by... Started off with Image and then back to Abstract. And it tells the story of 2 friends, Francine Peters and Katina Chuvansky, who's known as Kachu. And
bit of a nut. As you were.
Kachu, not cashew.
So have you got a cold? As I said, as you were.
And the funny thing was that it's published in... It was obviously initially published in comic form, but it's continually published in trade paperback form. And the first trade paperback is the first 3 issues of Volume 1. And I obviously picked that up first and read it and thought, do you know what? I'm not sure if I like this. Because to say it's sort of man-hating is not quite true, but it's basically Francine had a boyfriend called Freddie Femer, who was a bit of a dick, and it was about how they took their revenge on him. Sort of Kachu's a very no-nonsense girl, and she didn't like the fact that Francine was getting hurt, and so they took their revenge on Freddie. And I thought, I'm not sure about this, but decided to persevere, picked up Volume 2, which is called I Dream of You, and that is when the series just grew its pair of bollocks and turned into a fantastic... it's almost like a thriller. Suddenly, all these characters that before seemed very lightweight and meaningless and sort of disposable had huge backstories. And there's a third person who got introduced in the first series called David, and he fell in love with Kachu, but Kachu is in love with Francine, but Francine doesn't know.
Love triangle.
Indeed. But in I Dream of You, you suddenly find out about Kachu's past, which is, there's this amazing character called Darcy Parker, who is a former employer of Kachu's, who suddenly comes looking for her and trying to trace $850,000 of stolen mob money. And Darcy Parker represents this organisation called the Big Six. And it turned out that Kachu worked for this organisation and they're coming after her. She's stolen money from them. And it goes from being quite lightweight to very heavyweight, and you get characters that are introduced in a very lightweight way. Like, for example, there's a character called Casey, who's very much an airhead and becomes engaged to Freddie after he splits up with Francine in the first one, and she starts off a very airheady character but eventually gets really well rounded out. There's another character called Tamby, who is sort of an enforcer for Darcy Parker, and she's like a giant woman. She's sort of over 6 foot and muscle bound and very brutal in the way she acts. And it's just such a great saga that you really can't put a label on it. And I thought I had it pegged after 3 issues, and boy was I wrong. And just the roller coaster trip that it takes you on. It can be funny, it's dramatic, It's poignant, it's violent, it's beautifully drawn, just an amazing creation. And like I say, in total 106 issues. You can buy them all in 19 trade paperbacks. But just a wonderful story. And if you can get past the silliness and the lightness of the first 3-issue trade paperback and get beyond that, boy, it's a great tale.
So all very much set in the real world.
Absolutely.
Nothing super heroic about it. Nothing otherworldly. Very much a real world.
Like real world, real emotions, real fear. Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people may forget now in this day and age that comics aren't just about superheroes anymore.
Absolutely.
They've become a legitimate medium to deliver stories of this type. So
and
nice that you picked something like that as a quick hit.
Yeah, and this is one of the finest examples of it. So yeah, Strangers in Paradise. It's out there. You can buy it in trade paperback. There's 2-volume hardcovers. You can also buy it in pocketbooks. I think there's 6 pocketbooks that contains every issue. But yeah, that is my quick hit. Strangers in Paradise by Terry Moore.
Nice, very nice. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
My quick hit this week. We spoke in our last episode about someone who meant a great deal to me and was very much shaping my the way I turned out.
Yeah,
Wes Craven. Now this is nothing to do with Wes Craven, but this is another thing that kind of shaped me. So I've been waiting for this film for quite a long time. I'm a big lover of a music biopic. I'm one of these very few people who really love the Doors movie with Val Kilmer. I thought it was a great movie. I love Walk the Line. I think that's a great music biopic. We've just recently had released a movie called Straight Outta Compton.
Mm-hmm, indeed.
Which charts the beginning, the life, and the where they all are now of the Los Angeles hip hop outfit, gang, whatever you want to call them, NWA, which for the uninitiated stands for Niggers Wit Attitudes. This is a bloody good film, and you know what? It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be a good film.
What do you mean by that?
Because it's such a hackneyed story now that that's been done so many times in other films like Boys in the Hood and the rise from nothing, from zero to hero, if you like. But my God, this is a bloody good film. Really, really good. You've got O'Shea Jackson Jr., who is Ice Cube's son, playing Ice Cube in the film.
Oh, okay.
A young chap called Corey Hawkins, who's playing Dr. Dre, Jason Mitchell as Eazy-E, Neil Brown Jr. as DJ Yeller, and Aldous Hodge as MC Ren, who effectively make up the aforementioned NWA. There is not one bad performance in this film. Paul Giamatti is in it as Jerry Heller, their manager, who was kind of a bit of a shyster. Supposedly well-meaning, but it looks like he might have diddled them out of a fair few dollars over the years. But as I say, every single performance in this movie is astonishingly good. Massive kudos to O'Shea Jackson for brilliantly portraying his father. You would think you're looking at a young Ice Cube. I mean, albeit it is his son, but my God, he's got him down pat. He really, really has. But the biggest mention has to go to a young actor called Jason Mitchell playing Eazy-E, who you genuinely would think it was Eazy-E come back from the grave and is there on the screen. He plays this character, he plays the fuck out of it. How is it you would say? He knocks it out of the fucking park. This is a really, really good movie. It gives you the full history of NWA as from when they first arrived on the scene in 86/87 when the big album Straight Outta Compton was released. They don't touch on the album before it, which was an album called NWA and the Posse, which was kind of very, very, very raw, very, very low production value. But you can still pick that up. It's not a terrible album. But after I saw the film, I cannot stop listening to Straight Outta Compton. I had forgotten how much of a mighty, powerfully good album that is. I mean, hip-hop's changed so much since this album came out, but it wouldn't be how it is today if it wasn't for this album. There's a couple of taglines which I'm probably going to be paraphrasing here because I can't remember the taglines exactly that were on the posters, but it's kind of things along the lines of, these were the guys who gave hip-hop its voice, and these were the guys who opened it up for a new generation sort of thing. And man, they really, really did. And I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed this film. If I had to give one thing I would say against it, the way the film runs, they kind of split the guys up too early, because obviously they only ever made one album together as a full group. The second two NWA albums were Sans Ice Cube, because he'd gone off to do solo stuff, and also there was a big disagreement over royalties, so he left. So for my money, I think they split the group up in the film too quickly. I think there's a lot more stories that could have been told around just them as NWA. But yeah, I mean, go out, pay your money, go to the cinema, go see this. It is a corkingly good film. Go and download or buy or find a mate who's got a copy of Straight Outta Compton, the album, and listen to it, because I tell you what, it is better than a lot of the trashy shit hip hop that's out there now. Kanye West, who thinks he's this fucking amazing genius, the last geniuses in this genre of music definitely were these guys: Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, Eazy-E, and the rest of NWA. Go and watch Straight Outta Compton. It's a great movie.
Cool. Thank you, sir. And now we shall move on to this week's main topic.
When they got the ball, you know they won't drop it. The Geek-Minded fools discuss the main topic.
Right, sir. For this week's main topic, we wanted to discuss a TV show that has just come out.
I think it's more that we have to. We have to address it.
We do kind of have to. Spinning out of probably the most popular TV show in the world at the moment, The Walking Dead. We have Fear the Walking Dead. Don't fear the Reaper, fear the Walking Dead.
Fear the Walking Dead, indeed. A phenomenal opening night for Fear the Walking Dead.
Yes, indeed.
It is now recognised as being the most watched cable TV premiere of all time.
Premiere ever.
10 million people?
Yep.
Something like that?
10.1 I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
There's a lot of people.
Don't forget the point one.
Don't forget the point one. Let's start with me to go on here. I'm just wondering how many of them were as upset as me at the end of what seemed to be like the longest fucking hour of my life.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, controversially over here, obviously The Walking Dead is shown on Fox, which is accessible by any Sky and Virgin viewers, whereas Fear the Walking Dead has been bought by BT.
Yes.
Which means that to be able to watch it, if you're anything but a BT customer, you need to have BT broadband, or you need to have BT Sports subscription.
Which, of course, we both rushed out to get.
Indeed.
When we knew that this was going to be screening.
The only way to watch it would be that. So, yes. So we're 2 episodes in.
Correction. You are 2 episodes in.
Oh, I see.
I'm only one
still
episode
haven't watched
in.
it. Okay.
I have watched the first episode. I've
Okay.
actually watched the first episode twice because I couldn't quite believe what I was seeing.
Fair enough.
So I apologise for that off the bat. You'll have to fill in the listeners on episode 2.
Okay.
But
I'd also keep it spoiler free.
yes, indeed. Let's start at the top, shall we? I mean, set in LA.
Yes.
Set very much before the huge apocalyptic outbreak.
Well, do you know what? The opening was quite unusual, because obviously something as high profile of this, we all knew what it was. We all knew that Fear the Walking Dead was a prequel to The Walking Dead, set pretty much at the outbreak of the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
So what I thought was odd was when the guy wakes up
In the church.
encounters a zombie. Obviously, as I say, we'll try and keep it as spoiler free as possible, but encounters a zombie, runs out into the road and gets hit by a car. Then the camera sort of pans up as if to show, but look, see, you all thought this was a zombie apocalypse, but it's not. Look, because it's real life out there and lots of people in cars and stuff. And yet we all knew that was the case. So why this big reveal when it's like, yeah, we fucking knew that because you told us that's what the programme was about.
But saying that, I felt that was the most effective shot of the whole show. I really, really did. I'm just going to go straight out there and say it. The young guy who's playing
the drug-addicted
son, Ruben Blades, I believe the actor's name is. Could they not have found someone who could act? Because he is pretty appalling.
He is absolutely shockingly bad. I would say my overriding emotion from watching that first episode was boredom.
Yeah.
Absolute boredom. Now, I know that we used to, in zombie films or programmes, we used to a lot of zombies, and of course this is the outbreaks, you aren't going to see any, and you see 3 throughout the whole episode. One at the very beginning, one about 2/3 of the way through on a video, and then one right at the end. And I'm not saying that wasn't enough, But it wasn't enough.
No.
I know that you're showing us the beginning, you're showing us the development of the zombie outbreak, but I felt like I was watching some family drama. I felt like I was watching Beverly Hills 90210.
Party of Five.
Indeed, yes. It
With
was
Scott
that.
Wolf.
Yes, simply because you were just watching a family interacting with each other. So yes, you've got the mum and you've got the arrogant, stuck-up daughter. You've got the drug-addicted son. The husband's clearly gone AWOS. You've got the new boyfriend who's trying to be a parent to those two, but has an ex-wife and a son who hates him because he's obviously abandoned them.
This is my weekend.
And, precisely. And it was like, just show a zombie eating someone's face off. That's what I want to see.
It is literally
I don't need to see a family drama.
It's literally like the writers have done a David Bowie. David Bowie famously throws words on a table, doesn't he? And goes, right, well, I'll put all these words together, that makes a song. Yeah. They've done that with, 100 really mediocre TV box sets. And gone, right, let's take scenes from this, and this, and this.
Absolutely.
You've got everything you would expect from a I don't know what you'd refer to as an after-school special kind of. Like, it's just so boring. It was so dull. Do you know, I actually did fall asleep the first time I watched it. And
they sort of kept teeing it up. Obviously, you had the zombies appear, but every now and then you would get a police siren in the background, or you would hear a helicopter overhead, and you start to think, stuff's starting to go down, and people are talking about this illness because the mums are school counsellors and shit. Fewer and fewer kids are turning up at the school, so clearly something's going down. But it was just too much. I hate you, and you need to do something better with the kids, and it's like, fucking hell, just what do we want? We want zombies. When do we want them? As soon as fucking possible, please.
As soon as they can get here, they're pretty slow.
Indeed.
Now, I can understand why they would want to go this route.
Of course.
And yes, I was excited about a prequel to what I consider to be one of the best horror TV shows ever made. It is a great show.
What, Hammer House of Horror?
That's right. Yeah. Dr. Terrible's House of Horrible with Steve Coogan. I can see what they've tried to do. I understand the premise and I get it, and I think it is a great premise. But the sticking point, as you've massively touched upon, is why make it so boring? Mm-hmm. There's so many great situations they could have had going on there. So many great situations. In LA there's a lot of kind of abandoned warehouses and places where the homeless would be. Why not follow two characters like two cops who are out late night and happen across, a couple of dead homeless, and then
end of watch at the zombie
apocalypse.
Yeah.
Where were our fucking phone calls?
Because they're the ones who are going to be called to the various places and have to encounter all this shit and realise probably before anybody else that there's some bad shit going down.
Because what they don't realise, I think, the writers and producers of Fear the Walking Dead, is we've already done family quite perfectly well in more than one episode, more than one season, in fact, of the original show Walking Dead.
Yep.
We've done family. We understand family. Mm-hmm. We don't need that now. I want to see it from the point of view of the first responders. I want to see the ambulance people. I want to see the fire crews, and I want to see the policemen. I want to see the boffins sitting there going, "Well, I don't know what the fuck this shit is." I want to see that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see some kid moaning at his dad because he doesn't want to spend the weekend with him, because that is not helping the genre.
But if you're going to show a family throughout an hour and a half show, this first one, it was not quite feature length, but it was an hour and a half running time. If you're going to show that to begin a series, surely the most important thing is to make them likeable and relatable too.
Yeah.
And that family were neither. I mean, the daughter was stroppy and stuck up and love struck and I don't care about you and thinking of no one but herself.
It was very cliched.
So hated her. Exactly. You got the drug addicted son, who, as you say, wasn't the greatest actor, and whose actions throughout the whole show were
very unrealistic.
Were very strange. Yeah, particularly in the hospital when he's attached to the. Very strange. And then you've got this father figure, the guy who's come into this family and tried to be a father figure to. He was just very wet. He was just a drip and, sort of tried to be all things to everybody and couldn't make a decision to save his life. The only one I thought seemed to be a believable, well-rounded character was the mum. I thought particularly in her actions within the school and dealing with children, she was believable, and she was the one.
He has the brief scene with the kid with the knife.
Absolutely.
He's obviously going to play a bigger part coming episodes.
And I thought she was probably the one you could think, oh yeah, she seems alright, she seems nice, I like her. But then you've got the ex-wife of the dad who's just stroppy and doesn't like him and doesn't listen to him, and then you got the son who, frankly, as soon as he gets eaten, I'm going to be dancing around the room because he was deeply annoying, I don't want to come, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So therefore you had sort of these 6 characters who are going to take you through this TV series, 5 of whom I can't wait to die. I don't give a shit about them. I think
maybe
they're
that's
horrible
what they're
people.
Doing. Maybe that is what they're doing. Maybe they're giving us these characters that we hate so much that we can celebrate when they are eaten.
Do that when the zombie apocalypse is in full swing.
Yeah.
But frankly, these guys have to at least carry us through the first season.
Yeah.
One of them at most can die in the first season. These are your mainstays. These are your Ricks and your Carls and your Darryls. This isn't, the ones that they're going to be able to dispose of quickly. And I just felt that I didn't give a monkeys about them.
I also, as well, didn't really appreciate the fact that The Walking Dead, as a comic and as a TV show, it never really dates itself, does it? It never really tells you exactly when it's set. Whereas in this, they kind of are trying to let you know when it's set, just by the certain piece of technology they're using. Like they're using iPhone 4s, and to such an extent that there's a lot of iPhone 4s on show. So they're trying to kind of say, this is 2009, this is 2010, sort of thing.
Well, I think clearly what they're doing is we have to make the assumption that The Walking Dead is happening now.
Yes.
And therefore this is happening 5 or so years ago when the outbreak started. So we're effectively...
I always find when people try and do things like that with films or TV shows, it'll end up biting them in the arse somehow. And I think this will end up biting them in the arse. I mean, it's a saving grace that this is only 7 episodes, or it's 6?
6.
And obviously it's already been commissioned for season 2, for which I was reading the other day, a story that really, really thoroughly tickled me, and it was quite a big story on a website that I absolutely adore called Bloody Disgusting. They've made a big story of the fact that they're going to do a 30-minute special for the 2nd season, which is going to take place aboard an airplane, and they're saying, this will be the first time that we've ever seen, a true epic zombie scene on an airplane. To which I kind of thought, well, no, because there was a movie called Flight of the Living Dead, which kind of already did that, and we had World War Z, the big scene on the plane, which, as much as I don't like the film, that was there. I don't know why they're trying to make such a big thing about this whole zombies in the air thing. I think this is going to be one of these, I'm probably going to get this wrong, webisodes, where they run sort of like 5 minutes of it. They're 5-minute segments you can watch on the web. I'm going to keep watching it. Yeah. My lovely other half, Livy, said to me, well, if you didn't like it, then don't carry on watching it. but what I said to her, but my Shartsy, I have to keep watching it, otherwise I can't tell other people how fucking terrible it is.
No, I think regardless of that, when it comes to zombies, regardless of quality, you need to watch it, because regardless of bad characterizations, eventually we will see a zombie eating somebody's face off, and that's going to be worth sticking around for.
Very much so. I mean, I'm such a lover of the genre. I mean, the zombie genre in general. You know how much I love my zombie movies. So yeah, I will carry on watching it, but I need the world to understand that I was so sorely let down by something that should not have let me down. I don't feel, given the stellar storytelling, cast, production, filming, just all of the above on Walking Dead. They've set such a high benchmark, and this really seems to have set them back. I think they've kind of slipped down a few rungs of the ladder. I don't know. Maybe we might get 3 episodes in and it might go amazing. I very famously, when I first watched The Wire, I watched 2 episodes and I hated it, and it took me a year to go back to it and watch it again. And then I watched it and I got past those 2 episodes, and of course, it's an amazing show. I love it.
I think that one thing that is in The Walking Dead's favour is that in terms of characters, it is very much stereotype busting.
Yes.
Characters do and behave in a way that you wouldn't expect them to.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just every stereotype going. It's all there.
Yeah.
And having seen episode 2, there's a lot of stuff in there that you're just kind of going, yeah, I kind of figured that was going to happen, and it's just...
So not only is it stereotypical and cliched, it's predictable.
Yeah.
Which Walking Dead never was it? And still isn't, I don't feel. I mean,
absolutely.
You can make a guess, you can make an educated guess as to what's going to happen.
I think the difference between you and I in terms of The Walking Dead is that I feel The Walking Dead has definitely gone through some peaks and troughs. I think, you know, you've always been steadily impressed with the quality, and I would say that there's some parts that you know, The Walking Dead, you kind of go, all right, get on with this now. Yeah. Let's move this on, and they have dragged it out a little bit too much in certain places.
Maybe a few too many quiet moments before the storm, if you like. Yeah.
Absolutely. But then, you know, when the shit does hit the fan, it really does hit the fan.
We're going to need a bigger fan.
But yeah, I just feel that this one, I mean, at the start of episode 2, they make a very good decision, but then they suddenly follow that up with some exceedingly poor decisions.
Yeah.
And you kind of think, well, no, don't do that, because that's clearly... And again, just
you
annoying...
kind of wish you had Jamie Kennedy from Scream there.
Yeah.
To be pointing out what they're doing wrong.
And just annoying characters doing stuff that you just think, well, if you weren't such a prick and if you hadn't done that, then things would be a lot better right now. And again, it's just all attitude, and the dad is ringing his ex-wife and saying, I need to come over, it's all going badly. She's not even listening. She's saying, no, this is my weekend with him, we discussed this, and the courts have decided this, and you have to stick to it. And he's saying, no, listen to me, no, and you don't know, you know, you kind of think, for fuck's sake, you know, you're applying a stereotype of the bitter ex-wife, rather than have somebody who will actually look out the window and see there's some bad shit going on, and therefore when somebody's saying, where's our son, I need to come and get you both, you know, you actually listen to them and think, oh shit, what's actually going on, rather than just go, no, I don't listen to you, you know, you can't have him, you shouldn't come over, and all this sort of stuff. I'm angry. And I mean, there was a couple of half decent bits, but on the whole, just too much stroppy daughter and too much stroppy son, and
too much incredibly bad acting.
Yeah, what are we going to do with the junkie? And yeah, it was just disappointing.
One thing I will say in its favour, as ad campaigns go, I thought the ad campaign was very strong for it, and I think that is an important thing in this day and age. To, you know, it is the worm on the hook for a lot of people, and some of the posters have been really, really inventive. There's a great poster that's running at the moment on the tubes that's just got a beautiful LA sunset, and you can see two young kids playing basketball in like a silhouette, and then right in the background you've just got a walker just coming towards them, and it's a really, really great poster, very, very low on text. It's just that image, and it's just very, very effective. It's just a shame the TV show that accompanies it isn't as effective. And I so wanted to like this, and I so wanted to fear The Walking Dead, but quite frankly, there's no Walking Dead there to fear yet, so no. You know. But
you know, they are coming, and one thing that I did like about the second episode was, and this is probably the thing I'm looking forward to most, and I know I've constantly rattled on about I want to see zombies. Yeah. What I want to see more is the civil unrest and the degradation of normal society,
the looting and the
precisely,
and almost Mad Max-esque post-apocalyptic,
and the fact that in the early days it wasn't the Walking Dead you actually had to fear, it was other people.
Indeed.
Fun enough, the guy who had his knife confiscated in episode 1 appears in episode 2, and because the school counsellor, you know, the mum, says they'll be able to contain it, and he was saying, no, you have to realise that this is now the beginning of the end. And he was saying, you know, first thing that will go is internet and telephones, then electricity will go, and people will start running low on food. And he was saying that this is the end of civilization. Everything that we consider normal will be gone very, very quickly, and that's when you'll see people's true selves. And that's true, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. You know, it started to happen in episode 2, but kind of not in the way that I wanted to see it. It was...
They're drawing it out too much.
Well, no, they weren't even drawing it out. I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but something happens that gets a crowd riled, but it's sort of very stereotypical. I don't believe it's how people would really react, knowing that there's some bad shit going on. It's almost like your house is on fire, but you're complaining about someone's dog doing the shit on your lawn. You know, it's like, look over your shoulder, there's some bad shit there, don't get so caught up over this thing. And it's like a crowd turning on the police, them just focusing so much on that they're sort of blinded to everything else. And maybe that's the lesson that they're trying to say, you know, don't get distracted by the little things. But it just came across as, you know, you kind of go, oh, come on, this doesn't seem real. And the son, you know, the stroppy son, is sort of caught up in that. And I like the way it ended.
So would you say that the second episode is a lot stronger than the first episode?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. That at least gives me some hope.
Yes, but again, you know, there's some silly decisions and some silly thing gets done, and there's some, cliches in there. But it's definitely more watchable, but mainly because things are starting to kick off and people are starting to panic and things are going badly.
It'd be interesting to me to find out what the figures are, the viewing figures for episode 2 versus episode 1.
Yes.
I haven't looked into that, but that's going to be very interesting reading, I think, because
Absolutely.
It can't just be you and I that were let down with that first episode. To come from something that is such a genre-defining, and as you so rightly said earlier, a stereotype-busting masterpiece, to what is effectively a cookie-cutter horror show, it's quite a fall from grace, I think.
Definitely.
I think my most anticipated thing about the show, and I know it's going to run for 2 seasons, maybe even more, I don't know. But for right now, it's just 2 seasons. I'm really looking forward to the timelines meeting up. I want to see that happen, because I think that'll be very interesting. I mean, let's hope they can build on the characters they've got here, and let's hope they can make them...
I mean, my only concern, what I don't want them to do is hurry this show through to catch up with the other show. To me, that isn't the point.
No.
The point is always going to be this show happening 5 years behind that show.
Yeah.
And one thing that I initially thought, what would be cool is if you see people from that first show and then suddenly they show up later in the second show.
Yeah.
But then I thought, but that's going to ruin it, because you can only do that if they leave the first show, because otherwise you're going to find out what's happened to them.
Yeah.
Or the fact that they're still alive, or if they're part of a group, if they're the only one left, then you know that the other however many clearly haven't made it. And so I'm not sure they can do that. I'm not sure how they can suddenly unless it's one character, maybe halfway through season 6 they'll come along someone and it'll be the chubby kid with his knife.
Who was probably the most believable actor in the whole of the first.
Well, he was the Jamie Kennedy, because he was the one who was saying, look, we want to be careful, this is happening. And
well, I suppose only time will tell if we truly will fear The Walking Dead.
Yes. Or just fear having to watch it.
Fear having to watch it, indeed.
Yes.
I've got fingers, toes, everything crossed that it picks up and gets better, because much like myself, I know you love this genre, and we want to see this succeed, really, don't we? We want to see it do well, because the moment that things like this start doing badly is the moment that people, the execs and the people with the money start deciding not to make them.
Yeah.
We don't need, the one bad apple spoiling the batch, as it were. So let's just hope it gets better, shall we?
Yes, indeed. We shall see, but as you say, time will tell. Cool. Anything else you have for us, sir?
Not really, apart from the fact that I cannot get that annoying young actor's face out of my mind. I really can't.
What, the druggy son?
Yeah, him running out of the church at the beginning. It's not a huge spoiler, guys. He runs out of a church with his top flapping everywhere. He's just an annoying looking little man. I think he'd probably be less annoying if he could act, but he can't. I'm really sorry, Ruben Blades, but, well, you should have paid more attention in acting school class thing.
Cool.
That's all I got to say on the matter.
Right.
Can I just say one thing?
Yep.
We are now, I believe, sir, on episode 23.
This is episode 23. Yes.
So we have surpassed what stellar work we did with our previous podcast.
We have,
which we both really enjoyed doing and we love doing. But this is now our baby, our child, if you like, our podcast of choice. And can I just say how extraordinarily proud I am that we've got to episode 23. And how
without killing each other.
Well, we nearly did. And how extraordinarily proud I am to work with you on this, which I consider to be one of my finest pieces of work, sir.
God love you, sir.
Well
done. We both enjoy it, I know that much. So I think the early days of this one were us finding our feet. It's very different going from a 4-man podcast to a 2-man. Suddenly we're both carrying more of the workload, but I think that now we're just having a conversation, whereas I think before we were aware we were making a podcast and it sort of felt like we were having to work a bit for it, whereas now we're just shooting the shit, aren't we?
Well, yeah, and quite frankly, any medium I've got in order to try and get people who I couldn't stop sending money in order to send us to San Diego Comic Con next year in order to record a few episodes, possibly, maybe. I've got to embrace that.
But I think the whole reason that we wanted to get involved in podcasting was because we all used to get together and just shoot the shit and have a laugh. And I think you and I have always done this. We're effectively replicating our pub conversations, but just happen to be doing it in front of a microphone. This is exactly the sort of stuff we'd be saying.
Oh, damn Skippy.
Yes.
Damn Skippy. So yes, drawing episode 23 to a close, and now waiting till we record next to give these lovely people episodes 24, 25, 26 and forevermore.
Oh my god, what a terrible thought. Right, well that's it for episode 23. So for myself, Graham,
and myself, Scott,
thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.